Welcome back to another episode of Recovery Life. My name is Latoya, and we are back. Today, we have something phenomenal about to happen here today. I am going to allow our guest to introduce herself. This is her first time here with us and our audience on Recovery Life, and I'm going to turn it over to you. Can you tell the guest who you are, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jackie Russo-Budno. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, divorce mediator, Reiki master, end-of-life doula, and recently certified as a psychedelic assisted therapist.
Wow, that's called a lifesaver in a smaller word, right?
Yeah, exactly. No moss on this stone.
You have a lot going on. So what we do here at Recovery Life is there's many things that people recover from, whether it's overeating or drugs or gambling, sex addiction. Do you have any experience with dealing with anybody who has anything addictive personality disorders, anything like that?
Yeah, both personally and professionally, but I grew up with around addiction my whole life. I did not get the gene, and people say, you're so lucky you didn't get the gene, and I am. But then you have to watch people you love struggle, so it's a blessing and a curse.
It is, and you said you have to watch people that you love suffer. And I talk about it a lot, is about what the families go through when they have to watch their family members struggle.
Yeah. It's really, really painful. You cannot love someone healthy, because believe me, I've tried, better part of my life. And it's, you're not in the picture frame, so you're really watching it and you're trying to break the glass and you just can't get through often. So I've been fortunate. I've only lost one person to addiction in my family, but it's a struggle. It's really difficult for not only the person in addiction, but it's a different kind of struggle for people who love them.
It is, and I first of all, I identify when I struggle with words and stuff, and I'm going to struggle through this because this is a different kind of interview.
Sure.
And I want to be very empathetic to your feelings and what you're going to go through today. You are the first guest that I've ever had that has been a support to a person that's in recovery, and I think that you're going to be a really wonderful voice for those people who struggle with family members who are out there. Can you share some of the things that you found before you actually knew about the person you loved who was struggling?
Yeah, there's a lot of denial, a lot of passes. You think that what you're seeing can't really be what's happening. You don't want to believe it. And you kind of kick a can down a road until it pops up and hits you in the face, and there's no more road. And so then you have to start to make some choices on how and if you can or should help them, but also how to help yourself. We need to be saved too.
Right, that is true. And you happen to be a very wonderful spirit and energy to have in the studio today, because one time I was leaving out of the studio, and there was a minister who was outside waiting, and he had a grandson who was struggling. And so for people who are out there who have no idea what to do next, what would you tell them?
Yeah. Addiction can live as long as it's not talked about. You can't lie about it, and you can't keep secrets. And it's embarrassing, and it's humbling, and it's painful, and it's scary, and it's sad. And so who wants to talk about that?
Right.
When we see people closest to us, how are you? Fine. And really, you're not fine. I think that open conversation, not only with the person who has an addiction, but with other family members, friends, community who care about that person. We have to keep talking about it. I don't want to normalize it in the sense of we accept it, but I want to normalize it in the sense of we can't be afraid of it.
Right. Got to face it. A lot of conversations are had where families teach their children sometimes from young ages that keep it in the household. And we send them off to Switzerland. They're always on ski trips,
Right.
and when they're really in rehab.
Yep.
What do you talk to and say to those families who are not letting grandpa and grandma know that they're really dealing with a situation and they're not in Switzerland?
Yeah.
How do we have those conversations, the tough conversations?
So I don't have a child with an addiction, but I had, like I said, a lot of family members, and I feel like people who have children take it as they failed, as they did something wrong. And, you know, we're all learning. You know, my kids are 25 and 27. I have two stepsons, 43 and 31. I've never had kids this age before. Next year, I will never have had kids that age. So it has to be an ongoing process. But also, there are far worse things we can do to fail our kids. And so I think that if we can normalize that and get help for ourselves as well, that kind of gets you through it, if you will. You know, you're frustrated, you're angry, you discovered things are missing, and so you need to have an outlet. You know, a therapist is a great way to do that also, but friends, you know, might feel like a little bit out of the circle to do that. But I have not come across anybody that hasn't been touched by addiction in one way or another. So it's more prevalent, and I think healing can begin when the conversations begin.
That's right. That's right. The conversations matter, and the signs. I mean, we know that our children or our family members or our sisters or our coworkers or our friends are not always sleepy.
Right.
Because that's one of the signs when you see their body language changes and they're always tired.
Yeah, nodding off.
Yeah.
Yeah, not feeling well, sweating. Yep. Avoiding you. Looking to borrow just $2.
Right.
I just need 80 cents, you know, whatever a nipper goes for nowadays. There is a lot of signs. And like I said, we don't want to own them. We don't want to acknowledge them. And so that just lets it grow. The sooner you can face it and tackle it, you know, the sooner progress can be made.
And so it takes time, which means that the family is going through the time with them, and the time is long, and they steal a lot of things from you, and sleep is one of the things they steal because you're worried about their safety and what's going on with them. What is the process like for a family member to struggle through this? What was your process like for your family member when you were going through this with them?
You know, you're right. Stealing time. You keep hoping they'll get it. Rehab after rehab after rehab. This will be the one. They come out with all good intention. I firmly believe that. And in a second, it can be wiped away. So they steal trust. It steals security. It steals sleep. We have to protect ourselves. So when you realize this is happening, talking about it, like I said, getting resources and more words. You know, we don't want to put words to what's happening, but I always joke with my clients that I'm going to print up shirts that say more words, more words, more words, because we say it out loud, it makes it real.
But yes. You put and that's another and the opposite in the recovery world. The more they talk about it, the less power the disease has, because they suffer from guilt and shame.
Sure.
And it's we talk about the fact that, you know, these things happen and they want to be there for birthdays, they want to be there for Christmas, they want to show up, they want their word to be truthful. They really mean it. But the disease is a lot more stronger than your words are. And so it has the ability to twist and turn everything you ever thought was going to be. Your reality is now disease infested, you know? And I like to give it that look of like the living dead. Once you get bit, you are infected. What do you do next?
You know, it's a tragic situation for both the person and the family. Boundaries are huge, and boundaries are so hard because you love the people in your world. You love the people who are struggling. I say this often. If somebody went up to you and said, okay, so you have breast cancer, people would be, holy cow, what do I have to do? What's the first thing I need to do? But when you approach a loved one and you say, I think you have an addiction issue, no, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. And it's a disease as much as any other disease. It's an invisible disease in many ways because the person is fighting it up here, right? And with a broken arm, you could be ginger about it. You could see a bandage or something like that. And so I think it's easy to pull the mask down and over your eyes and say, it's really not really happening. But boundaries are hard. Boundaries are necessary and hard. And for me, one of the biggest things was recognizing that what I thought I was doing to help was enabling.
Mm. That was my next area.
Mm-hmm.
You're a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
You can see things that the average person cannot see. And yet you still found yourself in a position to enable because of your heart being involved in
Absolutely.
a situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you rip those two things apart and separate it to save yourself?
It takes being honest with yourself. In the case of most recently was my sister, and so our parents passed away in 2020. She needed a place to live because she had only ever lived with them. So we purchased a condominium. We let her live in the condo. 3 rules: stay sober, go to meetings, get a job. Aside from that, have a great time. She took the have a great time part. A little more focus on that one. No, there were moments when it was great, and then there were moments when it was really, really awful. And so, like I said, what I thought was helping wasn't really helping, and I had to get honest with myself. There was a commitment to my mom that I was going to take care of her, and she was going to be okay, my sister. And it hit me, and I went, what if her being okay means her doing it and just me walking with her while she does it? And, you know, child of addiction, you do all the things. That's your job.
That's right.
Did you hear all the things I listed? I introduced myself to somebody that way one time, and they said, oh, you're the child of addiction.
We just had this class this morning.
Timely.
And she's a professor, and both of her parents died of overdose. She's a master at everything she does. She's addicted to education, which is great. But woo, there's a lot. She does a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I told her, and we talk a lot, and I say, you're addicted. You have addictive personality. It's just you're doing other things with it, which is great.
Right.
You know? And first I want to say to you that you are an amazing woman.
Thank you.
I happen to know, you know, the other side of this as well. And you're like an angel that was placed in a position to be in a position to be there for a person whose wings is finally coming out, and she's actually flying now.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing to watch and be a part of as well. So thank you for that. It is not easy to be that other person in a situation, because it becomes a situation of a relationship you did not ask to be in. You have been told that you are going to be the savior for somebody.
Right.
And you just didn't know how detailed this savior position was going to be.
Yeah.
What was your breaking point?
15 minutes of CPR on the bedroom floor after I found her. And that was like, something has to change. And I've got to be the one to do it. That is nothing you wish on anybody. The EMTs came. They hit her with Narcan once. They hit her with Narcan twice. They brought me in the other room. I could hear them talking while I was talking with the state trooper. She's seizing. It's not working. We got to hit her again. And as much as I'm a multitasker, because I'm a mom also, as much as you have this conversation going, you're still listening to what's happening in the other room. And there is like a bubble around you where you're going, this could actually be the moment she dies. This could actually be it. There's been other points, you know, non-medical detox. That was rough that I've been a part of, but she's flying, and she's flying on Earth, not in the heavens.
Exactly.
So we'll take it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And she's doing well.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's doing well. She makes me laugh all the time.
I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, she's proud of you because you hung in there. You know, at some point, families get to the place where they just don't want it to happen anymore, because each phone call is devastating to not know what's going on. Yeah. You know, the in-betweens. Yeah. What was your in-betweens like, not knowing?
You know, anger is sadness multiplied. And so when you get angry, it's because you've been sad for so long. And the in-betweens were not sleeping, not eating, trying to stay focused for the work that I do, trying to find the space to take care of yourself when you're the last person you're thinking of. There's another in-between that I think is worth mentioning, which is, you know, the people that I live with and the people in the family who also love her, who had to be okay with what I was doing, not just from a logistical perspective, but, you know, before I said this has got to be it, you know, monetarily, there's a lot to it. And so the people around me had to be supportive of me as well. And that was huge. We were all on the same page.
So it's like you had to have a support network, you know, and that's one of the things I talked to your sister about. She has a really strong foundation with support network. She's, you know, we set boundaries for her too, because now she's so nice to everybody. She wants to give everybody rides. I'm like, no,
stop it.
No
yeah,
rides.
Exactly.
Tell them I said no.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So she's using these gifts now, and she's doing it in such a fantastic way, but she's pacing herself. And that is so, I respect that so much, because that's a big deal. You don't need to jump right back into where you were before.
Right.
You need to crawl a little bit and build these skills to learn how to deal with life.
Yeah.
How were you able to, because the trust is gone for a long time. You know, we're not there. We just want to make sure it's consistent. What is that like when I want to 100 billion% know that we're going to be here.
Yeah.
This is the time. What is that conversation like for yourself and your family?
Well, you know, we're never there. I mean, I know people that have been sober for 7, 10 years and had a relapse. I would love being there to mean being there.
Yes.
There's a lot of commas where you want a period to be.
Yeah.
And so you just have to love. I mean, you just have to love and believe in the person, because they already don't believe in themselves. They're already hurt. I mean, most of the time, people with addictions have suffered a trauma. And so, you know, there's an inner child wound way down there.
Yes.
And so, fortunately, you know, the family has ebbed and flowed, not just my immediate family, but the larger family, in such a beautiful way. Holidays, you know, if my sister would show up, they were glad to see her. They were like so grateful that she was there. Sometimes not sober, and we knew. I feel like also the love for yourself has to be really important as well.
It's very important. And to have that foundation of family, and to have, it can't be hidden. So her fellowship is equally as important as her family. And there's going to be conversations she can have in the fellowship that she probably can't have at Thanksgiving dinner.
Absolutely.
You know, and I tell her that all the time, and I say, listen, you can sit at Thanksgiving dinner and relapse, but you can't do that shit if you're with somebody who knows. You're not supposed to have that glass, right? Because it's so socially acceptable. Everywhere.
Weddings, you're having a great, I mean, commercials, look at it. It's there's a sports game on. Okay, let's grab a beer. You know, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I can respect the moment by moment fight. But it's right within their reach, right?
Yes.
So I can respect that, how hard that is, and I know that she wakes up every day, and you know, gives it everything she has. Everything she has. And sometimes that's only 20%. You know, we expect it to be 100% all the time. We're healthy.
Right.
We're healthy. And she's trying to get healthy.
That's right.
And so some days it's 10% and some days it's 100. Some days it's 110. She's a lot, but that's okay.
Yeah, she's energetic.
Yeah, she sure is.
Yeah, she's energetic. But it's a positive energy, and you know, she brings a light wherever she goes. So you know, it's a big deal for me to watch it happen.
Yeah.
I think that what she wants to happen is, like we did talk about the CPR, is how did you regain your emotional stability back after doing that?
Yeah.
Because you died a little bit while you were hearing this. There's no way you couldn't have.
Right.
You know, you're ear hustling to the worst conversation that a person can be listening while you're talking to, you know, the police over here.
Yeah.
And you got your, you know, your own family, you got conversations that got to be, a lot is happening.
Yeah.
What is that?
The skill is to talk about it. The skill is to talk about it, acknowledge it, and I thank my husband, I thank my kids, because they have really been supportive of me, supporting my sister, and they love my sister. They, of course, want to see her healthy, but they were checking in. Are you okay? They were asking questions. They let me tell the story when I was ready to tell the story. I'm probably a lot more calm right now than I was the first time I told the story. It's a little surreal, to be quite honest. You're in shock as well. Like, what did I just do? Holy cow. I mean, CPR is no joke, man. That's, I had no idea. You take the course,
Right.
Thank God, but until you actually have to do it, and you have to do it consistently, there was 2 times when I was giving CPR that I stopped, and she went, and I knew that I was the only thing keeping her alive in that moment. So you just keep going. And, it's a little like getting your kids to graduation. Like, okay, she's okay.
Yeah.
Now it's on her.
Yep.
And it is. It's all on her. It's her work. It's just for me to cheer her on.
And you're doing a great job. I mean, because it's a lifeline.
Yeah.
It's a lifeline that you are like I said, you're here to tell your side of the story. And because there's a lot of families out there who don't get to use their voice and share what their part of this was and what they felt, when they have family members that go through this, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you, what do you do on a daily basis to talk to your immediate children and your own children who don't have these issues about friends they may have?
Yeah. My sons, also saw the same family members not well, and we did talk about it a lot. They have what I would say is a front row seat, unfortunately, to what that life looks like. They're grown men now, and so they say more is caught than taught when you're a parent. And I hope that what they caught was compassion, was patience, and was the ability to say, I see you struggling to a loved one, but I have to put me first. I have to put me first.
And that takes a lot. It took a lot. Where are you now?
I'm good. I'm sleeping at night,
Okay.
which is a really good thing.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a really good thing. There's a time when, and probably most of your audience can appreciate this, you're just waiting for the call. Like, you're just waiting for the call. It could be a little call. It could be, I crashed my car. It could be a big call, I'm in the hospital. Or it could be the bigger call. And so a lot of clients that come in also have that, they're crying, I'm just waiting to hear that my child has died. I'm just waiting to hear that my brother's not here anymore, or whatever. And, I have so much compassion for them. And I'm a little bit different in the therapy world because I speak about it. I speak about it to my clients. I say, you know what, I know how I felt, and so I can appreciate how you feel. I can never say to somebody, I know exactly how you feel.
Right, because everybody's different.
But I will share my story, and hopefully that helps people feel like they're not alone, because that might be the only place that they're having this conversation.
That went by so fast tonight. So I would like for you to take a couple of minutes and share what you think somebody would want to hear who is struggling right now with someone they love.
Talk now? It's probably just going to be more of a recap, but maybe a checklist. Addiction lives in secrecy, and addiction lives in lies, and not allowing those to be those conversations to not be had. So have the conversations, put words to it, take care of yourself, and remember that this is a disease. Reach out to people that are around you who can support you, and set boundaries. Boundaries have to be set and held. It's one thing to set them, you have to hold them as well. As painful as that is, my sister lost everything but her family. And so we're still here.
That's right.
We still love her.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
I would like to have you come back for part 2.
Sure.
Because we definitely need more time, because
Yeah.
that went by so fast.
That felt like 5 minutes,
Yeah,
literally.
Because I mean, I really want to do part 2.
Sure.
And however many we need to do,
Yeah.
we're going to do it.
I'm happy to. Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
so much, and thank you for being here today.
Of course. I just said to Jen, I was like, does Latoya ever see family members? And I didn't want to impose.
No,
This
was like a gift to the viewers. I'm not even kidding you.
Thank
So
you,
I'm going
yeah.
to definitely get you to come back again.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe I can add a little bit on microdosing psychedelics, which is doing wonders for people with addiction.
Okay.
It's fascinating. It
I
was
would
a
love to have that happen.
year-long program, rebuilds the neuroplasticity of the brain to allow for alternative ways of thinking, and it's really fascinating. It's life-saving for people too.
That'll be our next session.
Okay.
We'll do that next time.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on this special edition of Recovery Life. Ciao.